Hello, ladies and gents. We're back again, and it is just a few days out from the KWU Ultra 2024. So we're doing a Facebook Live to answer your questions. We've asked on some of the faithful, the KWU faithful, who amongst them have like possibly about 30 to 35 KWUs between them. So if you have any questions, it's them you can ask and they will reply. But we also have Eileen herself, the race dictator, who will be here to answer your questions. Everything's on the website, okay? But you can ask it one time only, and that is tonight, okay? So if anything is bothering you about the big day, then it's now. Firstly, I'm just going to show us a little video of what Friday morning is going to be like, the excitement that will be brimming as we leave Killarney Racecourse and heading out into Muckross. It's just about 60 seconds. We'll take a look at that and then join us, and we'll have Barry, Eileen, Sarah, and the legend himself, John Boyle, on to give you their best tips on how to rock the race this year. Right, how exciting is it to watch those videos? It's almost more exciting waiting for the race than actually doing the race. And speaking about excitement, we got excitement here too, because we are feasting. Happy birthday to John. Happy birthday to John Boyle. Happy birthday to John. Happy birthday to John. Yes. As you all know, it's John's birthday on the KWU weekend. And John, we have a party down here and you wouldn't even join us, huh?
I'm looking forward to the weekend. It'll be good. It'll be good.
Very good. Anyhow, we'll start off with you, John, considering it's your birthday and considering you have done the Kerryway 10 times. But this year you're coming back not to run it, you're coming back to help out, from what I understand.
Absolutely, yeah. Although I just got a message from Ian Tumulty expecting to be running as a hoax, but it's not a hoax. Actually, I'm not actually running this year. Yeah,
Cool. So you did your time on the trails. Now you're here to help and to enjoy it in a different manner. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm really looking forward to it. Obviously, there's a bit of it feels strange because it's normally it's a week that I'm very familiar with at this stage in terms of preparation, or the lack of it sometimes. But and that in that way it feels different. But I'm just as excited to be helping and to be watching and to be part of what is a fantastic weekend.
Brilliant. We're going to come back to you in a while once we have a few questions and stuff. But one thing I just want to ask you is, you've done the Kerryway 10 years. Do they all blend into each other, or do you have very distinct memories of certain years, or is everyone very distinct for you?
Yeah, they're all different, Sean. I mean, some years I've run with somebody. One year it was to get somebody home. Actually, it was the only reason I did it for a second time. I had never considered doing 10. I only had considered doing 1, the truth be known. But and that I kind of got the bug for it after that type of thing. But like, I mean, some years I've run with somebody for much of the race, or a lot of it, and maybe nearly all of it in one year actually. And in other years I just drift, and I whoever I bump into type of thing, go on my own. But yeah, they're all different, and there's different conditions every year. I mean, 2 years ago, I mean, it was bone dry. Last year it was like glue, in parts. I don't know what it'll be like this weekend. It's probably be something in between, I think, because there has been some reasonable weather lately, but I think it expects it to be still wet enough up there, they're all very, very different, and familiar faces, new faces. I think it has evolved in terms of the infrastructure around it, the awareness around it, the way it's marketed. You've played a huge part in that respect, Sean, I have to say. And the facilities around it, and your early footage there showed us starting from the garage, and it's now down at the Killarney racetrack, which is a fantastic theatre for both the beginning and the end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very good. Okay, cool. Stick with us, John, where we will be back with loads of questions, I am sure. We have Sarah, who is obviously a regular down in Kerry, and who has done, from what I understand, from what I remember, you've done the Ultra quite a few years. Was it 2 years, 3 years in a row?
Yes, I did the full, finished it last year, got to Temple No the year before, and did the night before that. And the relay was my first trail race. In 2000 or 2020.
Yeah. 2020. So you've been there most years. And this year you are tackling the light, is it?
Yeah, going down for a bit of fun.
Good. Is the pressure off when you've been doing the ultra and you have like this gigantic race ahead of you, and then you I won't say come down, because it's a completely different race. It's a faster race, it's a shorter race. But for you, in your headspace coming down to Kerry, do you feel, more at ease?
Yeah, well, definitely for this one, because the plan is to just go down and enjoy it. I think I'm more suited to the longer, slightly slower. So this is like just going down to enjoy it, and whatever happens, happens. So less pressure, less expectations in that regard. But I would plan the exact same for every race. So, I actually just enjoy going down to run for the process of it, really, more than anything. And then you whatever happens, happens really in the end.
Cool. And you're coming down with a big crew, I think, from with Simon.
Yes, the usual gang. So the amazing Inner Fight crew with Simon. So big gang from that, and then my original crew as well. So that we've all gone down. We've all been down for the 3 or 4 years that we've started together. So yeah, the usual.
Brilliant. It's great to see all the same faces keep coming back. Brilliant. Exactly. So stick with us, Sarah. As I say, we'll have questions, and we'll have a bit of back and forth. I'm just going to bring Barry on there. Barry, who is in Donegal or Dublin or somewhere up north. How are you doing, Barry?
How are you? What's the crack?
Good. You're back with your spuds this year, are you?
Yeah, Foilmore. The spuds will be spuds and butter and salt and Foilmore. Yeah, so
Right.
I'll be there all day till the last runner comes in, and probably end up with a few of them in the van going home with me as well. That's
Right.
the usual.
Good
But
stuff.
yeah, looking forward to meeting everybody. It's great. Foilmore is great because most of the runners will get there, and it's a big checkpoint for people because they're heading into over to Waterville. It's a tough section, and so people take their time, get fueled up at that point, maybe, going into the night as well, so they're getting their head torches and everything ready. So it's a lovely crossover point to see all the runners.
It is, and it's an important point because very often people kind of fly by there, and we're going into tough terrain before we get into Waterville, so it is important to kind of take your time there, get into nutrition, get into liquids, get into spuds, and then take off into, from what I personally think is maybe the hardest part of the race. Obviously, things have gotten a little bit easier with some of the tracks that have been kind of made up there, but it is a very tough section.
Yeah, and also it's worth just saying to the runners actually just to take on maybe extra liquids at that point, because even though it's not as long a section as some of the others, it's definitely time wise it can be a long set, and if it's warm, it can be a long section, but if it's warm, definitely take on an extra bottle of water, or that's the time. There is one or two spots along the way you can fill up, but they're hard enough to find sometimes. So definitely I'd say that'd be the point. I would say just take on extra water and make sure your head torch is with you at that point. Well, you have it with you anyway, but make sure, because some runners, it's great that the top runners will be getting through Waterville in the daylight, which is always a big kind of a big goal, getting into Waterville in the daylight. But a lot of runners will be coming over that section at night, which is tricky enough. And so,
yeah, the headlamp and the spare batteries, which is super, super important. Super important, because you never know what will happen. Cool, Barry, thank you. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bring Eileen on. Guys, anybody that is on that wants to drop in questions, I'm going to go through them shortly. First, we're going to have a lowdown from Eileen on race numbers, on any last minute information that she wants to share, and then we'll throw out any questions. Let us know in the comments where you're watching from. You're watching from Ireland, from Cork, from County Down, from County Clare. Let us know in the comments. Eileen, how are you doing?
I'm grand, John. I'm still saying today was a difficult day. Everything just came to a head today, but yeah, I'm still ahead of all the work. Still keeping ahead of it. So hopefully the next few days will stay the same.
Cool. So numbers wise, we got big numbers again this year. We've got on all races, but especially I suppose the light and the night is bringing big numbers, and especially from abroad.
Yeah. I'd say the light is the usual 200, which is great, and that's the maximum. The night has gone up to so far 108, and I think there's 50 nationalities in that 108. The ultra is down. I think a lot of people are trying the night first, rather than for the last few years when people just went for the full ultra. I think a lot of people are taking on the night now, which is great. I think there's probably 120 in the ultra between the two start times. So yeah, we'll see who turns up on Friday morning.
Yeah, very good. And we'll be taking a look at those runners, giving you maybe a form guide. I will over the next few days. We got people watching from everywhere in Ireland. So Eileen, do you have any kind of last minute, obviously everything is on the website, but you're still getting through kind of questions via email on some of the stuff, fundamental stuff, which is important, but is on the website. But do you want to give us a lowdown of kind of the structure of the weekend?
Yeah, well, I think the most important question or answer that I can give to anybody is read the signs. I know I normally say read the website. Now, the week before the race, I'm saying read the signs, because if anything happens in the meantime, a flood, trees down, etc., the route will be different to what people have ran it over the last 6 months or 7 months. There could be a change. the signs, as in the Kerry signs, the Yellow Man signs, the brown signposts, they will be changed. Your own GPX won't change, the maps won't change. So it is so important to read the signs. And their signs could say Kerryway via the beach. You don't need that. That's the signs run by Cara Daniel. People add on an extra, whatever, 5-6 kilometers. So I say, it's just, if you read the signs, it will say, as in, there is one sign that says, if you turn left, it brings you to Waterville 17, 19 kilometers. If you turn right, you still get to Waterville under 11 kilometers. So that, obviously, the shorter one is the preferable. So it's just a case of just being conscious in the back of your head to read a sign. That's the main thing I can say. Just do loads of water. I don't know, about 6 different weather apps on the go. They're all telling me the weather will be different. So I think it's just a case we just see what happens. Last year, I think the main problem last year was dehydration. People just didn't drink enough. It's mentioned on the website. I've mentioned it in the emails about where the water is available. So it's just a case of go back and read the emails again if you didn't notice it. There is water everywhere. There's water in the community centres. There's water in Templenoe in the graveyard. There's water in the school in Kenmare. There's water everywhere at all the cruise stops. And if you can't see them, ask the marshal or ring me, email me, but there is water. Use it.
Great. Use it, yeah. Most important advice ever. Besides spuds, it's water. People should be taking on. Great. So yeah, on this Saturday, so we'll be coming into the race course. We will, weather permitting, have a band in the evening time, just like last year. So fingers crossed we get good weather like last year. So do plan on hanging around. The vibe was great last year, and that's what we're trying to produce at the race course, which is such an amazing partner and such an amazing location for everything. Other than that, Eileen, I'm going to make a call out for questions. I have a few questions coming through.
We're starting off a film festival.
Yes.
Starting off with 2 films, one from Jason Williamson, our very kind sponsor from Six West, and also Kevin Leahy, who everyone knows. So we're having these 2 films on a loop inside in a room right beside the bar in the racecourse. And also the racecourse cafe is now serving pizza. Yeah. And seemingly last year they were haunted by everyone looking for chips. So they took great pleasure in telling me yesterday morning that they're now doing chips. So I said, right, I will get the word out. The chips and salt and vinegar will be available all Saturday in the racecourse.
Very good. So food, film festival, which is great. I'm sure everybody has seen Kevin's at this stage, but if you haven't, that's there. But also Jason's, which has only been featured once at a film festival in Skibbereen, if I can remember the details, and he's also gifted it to us for the day, which was his FKT of the Ireland Way, which was amazing. I was fortunate enough to see it, and you may have followed him about this time last year a little bit more, the struggles he went through. He still got the FKT, but he was brought to hospital and everything, so it documents that. So that's going to be on loop, so jump in there. It's about a 40-minute watch. It's absolutely brilliant.
No questions, everyone. Yeah, this is great.
Right. So we're making a call out for questions. We have a few, a very relevant one. Is the route out through Muckross important? I went through last Saturday and didn't see any Kerryway signs.
Yeah, no, there are Kerryway signs. There's a lot of signs in Muckross in that they have their own signs, as in Muckross and Arthur Vincent, Walk, etc., etc. Kerryway signs are there. Brona, if you're coming back through the national, you have to come back to the national park. When you come down to Cork, go under the tunnel, you're then in the national park. Just keep running towards town. Once you keep the lake on your left, you should be right. There are signs, but it's just that if you just keep running straight towards town, you're guaranteed to get home.
Brilliant. I am going to maybe bring on Sarah and John here, because we have a few kind of race relevant questions. How small is small when it comes to bags, for the bags for drop bags, water, drinks, or just food and clothing? Maybe Sarah, first, you might tell us what you did. Did you have drop bags? Did you have crew? How did you manage that? And then John. Sarah, do you have any input on that one? Or John?
While you're waiting for Sarah or John, I just say small, because they have to be carried, and you don't break them. Some people do bring the kitchen sink. It's not necessary.
Yeah.
So it's just a mixture of food, drink, food and water, but just to keep it tidy.
Yeah,
Sorry.
keep it tidy.
Yeah.
I mean, there is a checkpoint every 20 or so K, so you don't need the kitchen sink. I've seen that too. Just bring what you're going to use. John, what have you done over your 10 years?
Yeah, well, I noticed that at Lord Brandon's, there's quite a lot of stuff left behind, and it's completely unnecessary, because you're only going to be in a couple of hours. What do you really need at that stage? A bit of water, very little else. So don't overpack the bag for Lord Brandon's, because the amount of stuff that goes to waste there is unnecessary. I think it's one of the first things. I've done it both without crew and with crew. Obviously, if you've got a crew, you're not worrying about the same logistics around the bags. Barry made the point earlier on about the lamps. Make sure you have them in the foil more bag if you're not carrying them the whole way. I've seen it happening to people before. They're looking for the lend of something halfway up the mountain, where their lamp was in the next bag at Waterville, and it was too late. So I think that's a must for anybody in the kind of 32 to 38 range, or indeed right out to 40. You really must have it in the foil bag. They're the main things. I think, and it's as Barry said, the batteries as well. It's your insurance policy as well. Particularly if you've got the lamp on high beam, you're going to need it before the night's out.
I've seen it at Foilmore, where somebody opens their bag to find out that their torch has been on all day, where it goes on by accident. So my personal choice for torches is, I know there's a lot of really cool rechargeable batteries and all, but I love the 3 AA batteries. At least somebody's going to have spare batteries, and also keep 3 spare batteries with you, 3 batteries in your torch. And definitely a second torch, even if it's a small one. No question, put a second torch in your bag, because I've seen that twice. Once at the very start of the Wicklow Way race, that starts at midnight, and my good mate Ray opened up his bag, and there was his torch on, probably since he packed his bag. So it does happen. So so bring a second torch. But just on the original question, like small, usually it's like a small bag with your water, your food. There are people rock up with full changes of clothes for every single checkpoint. Totally not necessary. Like a pair of socks, maybe a change of socks if that's what you want. But I've seen Shawnee there coming. I remember his drop bags in Foilmore was 2 bottles stuck together with a double-decker sellotape to it. That's Shawnee's race. Am I right, Shawnee? Was that what you had the last time you would have run through Foilmore anyway?
True. I mean, when I came to the race the first year, I was scared at the drop bags, because there was so many big bags, and I just had my bottle and a chocolate bar for all of them right to the end. So do what you feel is right. Don't be, especially once you arrive up there, don't get scared by what other people are doing. You're running your own race, and that worked for me, just having 1 bottle and a chocolate bar or gel or whatever right through to the finish line. But just pack what you're going to use. Obviously, I could have put in the kitchen sink just for reassurance, but it would have been chaos. As Eileen said, there would have been so much stuff left over. I just took what I was going to use. So yes, Sarah, do you want to tell us how you managed your checkpoints, and did you have big bags or small bags or what?
No, I think eating side of things would have been my nemesis from when I started, and that was probably the reason why I didn't finish 2 years ago. But I think, yeah, as you go through, like I went from doing the night with, like, I think it was bacon sandwiches, because I wasn't doing any kind of fueling at all, to the point where last year it was really specific items that I had for each checkpoint. And Jer and my mom, who actually crewed, who are the best crew, kind of knew, pretty much whittled it down to what exactly we would need at each checkpoint. And for me, for anyone who has stomach issues, it was eating early when I wasn't really hungry, just to make sure I was topped up on fuel for any of the, like, I take the precision kind of gels and the dilutable now, but all just white food. I literally always had a spare plain cheese white bread sandwich in my bag. And then at each checkpoint, I'd take a croissant and something else white, plain, just to kind of soak up all the fluids. Because as Eileen said, like last year, it was just insanely warm. You just couldn't take on enough water. So kind of having that type of soakage in your stomach definitely worked. And it gets you through the checkpoints quickly when it's easy like that. Once you eat consistently, you don't need that amount. Now, I'm not as lean as yourself or John Boyle, so my body does need a lot of calories, but you can still keep it pretty tight volume wise.
Cool. And you were just very consistent the whole time, which was important.
Yeah. And like literally the cheese sandwiches were the game changer last year for me, because it gave kind of enough of everything that you need. And yeah, croissants coming out of the checkpoint. So 2 croissants, maybe a bit of watermelon, and a sandwich in the bag. I remember eating the sandwich when it was getting bright between Sneem and Temple Now last year. And I was quite thankful I had it in the bag, because you do all that sweating and everything you need. For me anyway, some people don't need it, but I definitely need consistent food. And last year for me, what changed it was eating early, when maybe I didn't feel I needed it, but it helped later on in the race.
Yeah, that's a great point. And I've suffered with that, because I'd go off and spend 6 to 8 hours running hard enough, as hard as I can. And then boom, so drink and eat from the get-go. And that will help.
It kind of keeps you calm at the start as well. Like I think we all have a tendency to go out fast when we're feeling strong. So that would be a hard lesson learned, is slightly slower, bit of fuel, and that gets you quicker in the end.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay, we have another question coming through here from Emmy. It says the mandatory gear will be checked at the registration. Is it okay to not bring your water and fuel to the registration? I have a bit of a walk to the race course on Friday evening.
Sort of, you're asked to show that you have water and a bit of spare food at the mandatory gear check. So I can't make exceptions for one, not make exceptions for everybody. And other people would say, oh, maybe I won't bring the head torch. So just across the board, it's sort of everybody has to.
I think, Eileen, if they have their water bottles, if they have their water bottles, and if they have, most people will have a few gels or a Mars bar. Like if you have a crew, literally, if you have a chocolate bar or a couple of gels in your bag and your empty water bottles, that'll suffice. Don't carry water the whole way down the road, because we know you're not going to go out at the start with no water. But as long as you have your water bottles, everything else is essential. Your head torch, your mandatory stuff, and your maps and all that stuff, it's absolutely essential. But
the only thing is, Emmy, if you don't have a crew, you have to bring your drop bags to registration. So you're going to have to be carrying something. If you have a crew, well and good, you leave the drop bags with them. But off the top of my head, I don't think you have a crew.
I don't think she does, no.
Yeah, so you'll have to bring your drop bags to the registration.
Yeah. Eileen, what's the most frequent omission at registration? What do you have to get people to come back with on a regular basis?
The rucksack.
Really?
Yeah.
They bring it in the bag. Just yeah. This
year, I've had to introduce a photo ID. People will have to bring a photo ID. It's just it's more work to be done, but it's just from something that happened last year. It's just a new rule that has to be brought in. But yeah, it's nearly always the rucksack. Last year we had somebody turned up on the Saturday for the night, and was having a blazing row with me that morning, as in, no, he wasn't told that he needed to go to registration on the Friday evening. And the only thing I could say was, look, there's 199 other people saw it. So, yeah. Now, he came up to me afterwards and said, absolutely, yes, he just totally misread the whole situation. So that was a big forget, just entirely about the registration. But that's, yeah. Every year there's something to go in the book.
Cool. So yes, bring everything to the bag check. That's why it's there. Emmy, bring your water. You should be hydrating the day before anyhow. Maybe use that walk to the race course to actually drink water. But yeah, bring everything, as Eileen says. Next question is there much parking in Kinmare Crew Stop?
Oh, hi, Mark. It's a school car park, and because the Kinmare Crew Stop is used for all of the races, the ultra, the relay, the night, the light, it can get quite congested there because there are also gazebos for the drop bags. I can't guarantee there'll be parking, but Super Value is just across the road, and there's a huge car park because the Super Value, Lidl, Aldi, Nick's photography, there's everything there, so you won't be too far away if you can't get into the school car park.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of parking, it's probably worth reminding them, Eileen, as well, even though you do have it on the website at Glencar, they won't be permitted to park opposite the bar and post office there. There is parking around the back of it, and lots of people will be able to park in further up the road and meet the runner further up the road. But we definitely, I think it's normally pension day, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Friday is pension day, and the locals need the car park to drive in and turn. So we try, and just because the climbers in let us use their car park, they kindly let us use their car park. So we like to keep it as open as possible. There is a new car park behind, and as you say, the road is very straight on both sides. And if people park responsibly, there won't be a problem. It's the same in Temple No, because Temple No is a graveyard, and it's also quite a narrow car park, and you have to get access out onto the Kinmare Road, which is quite busy. So people are asked when they arrive at the car park, their crews are asked to go down towards the sea. There's two fine car parks there, GAA pitch and the Pier car park. And I know I think I've 3 or 4 people in Kinmare this year, and they will just send everybody down. Now, I was just talking to Peter today, the head marshal there, and he said people say, oh, I'm only here he's only 10 minutes away. 3 hours later, they're still parking there. So it's just asking people. Now, we have a bit more help on the Kinmare car park, on the Kinmare Road, with the cycle that's coming through. I've got in a traffic management company for the road, for just purely for the road. They're only going to be on the road and not going to be in the car park. And whatever they say goes. They are the bosses with cars. I just saw a comment there about road closures or something. I didn't get a chance to read it.
Yeah. Will the road closures affect crews going to and from the Temple No and Kinmare area?
Well, the road closures are mostly Saturday, and people will have to think they won't be able to drive from Killarney up to Malls Gap and down into Kinmare, or onto Temple No. They won't be able to go to Malls Gap and down into Sneem. They will have to go via Killarney, Kilgarvan, Kinmare. But it's the Malls Gap road is quite early. Closure is from 7 until 10. And that is Malls Gap to Kinmare. There's no more road closures on the Temple No section. After that, all the road closures are not going to affect us. The road closure that would have affected us mostly was the Port Road in Killarney being closed for 24 hours. That was going to be a nightmare. But that now has been changed to it's not closed until 3 a.m. So that has taken the pressure a bit off us. But I'll say to people just to not to think you're right, it takes me 10 minutes to get here. If you think it'll take 10 minutes, go 20 minutes, 25 minutes, because traffic in Killarney is very bad these days.
Big time. Okay, quick question. Maps. Can we buy maps when signing up for the light?
You
signing on?
can, Brian. I would say maybe give Portrest in Killarney a call because they have all the maps, but there are a lot of people ordering the maps. So it would be easier. Just give Connor a ring and he will bring down the maps for you. He will be there they will have a pop-up shop on the Friday evening, but it just doesn't do any harm just to ask to have you're on whichever race you're on, you might
Right.
need 3 maps, or you need 2 then.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, is there a tap at Lord Brandon's cottage, or do we need to buy water or pop them in the drop bag?
No, there's hi Adrian. There's a tap. When you're running into Lord Brandon's from the direction that you're coming, the tap is on the left hand side at the end of Lord Brandon's. It's nice to walk around Lord Brandon's anyway. It's very scenic.
Very good. Right, a good point here from Niall. Make sure the drop bags are closed and secure and try to make them instantly recognizable, because with so many runners, you could be running around like a headless chicken looking for yours. So yes, great point by Niall. Okay, we're going through here. Best of luck. Shout out to Dada Bear, Derek Kelly, trying to embarrass him here. You just embarrassed him. Dada Bear will, that name will follow you throughout the weekend. So it will, best of luck to everybody. Very good. Okay, Emmy says, the main issue was carrying all the water, but I can bring my bottles. Okay, cool. Right, question. Where's the best place to park your car for the night in Killarney? Is there overnight parking at the racecourse for Friday night?
There should be if everybody parks sensibly. There's in the main car park for the racecourse, which is right up at the racecourse, has now been painted. The lines are painted, so there's less parking there, but it's much tidier. But the main car park, which is at the gate from the Ross Road into the car park, there's a huge area there for parking. And if everybody parks sensibly, there should be enough space there. And I'd ask people, if they have camper vans and they're parking there maybe Thursday night before the race, or Friday night, whatever, to keep the noise down. I've heard a few people, other runners, saying that they were in their camper van, but the camper van behind them, there was so much noise that it just wasn't really fair. So just to be considerate of everybody.
Mm-hmm. Very good. When you say rucksack, is my running vest the same thing? So, yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Well, once your mandatory gear all fits in your vest,
Yeah, very good. Because obviously, rucksacks are getting smaller and smaller these days. I added my name for the bus to Sneem after I registered. Do we pay cash in the morning?
I'll check your email in the morning, and I'll reply back to you.
Cool. All right. If we've any more questions, guys, we're about 50 people on here. Now is the time. But other than that, obviously, we have everything on the website. Sarah, what is your plan for the last few days? Are you taking it easy? Are you tapering? Are you doing absolutely nothing and just letting your body recover from your training just before you hit into it on Saturday morning?
So just do easy jogs. So I went out for a little jog earlier and I'll go again on Wednesday. And the plan is to maybe just do a little jog through Muckers Park. It's obviously everyone's most painful part of the race, no matter which one you do. So we'll probably head out to Torque and jog back. My good friend Jer has got lost there way too many times. He went to look at the roses in the garden on the way back one year. So we might do a little jog back, but I just really slow, easy. I prefer to kind of keep ticking over. But one thing I would say is eating wise, just stick to what your body's used to. That would be a lesson learned from a friend who suffered through the 200 when they changed to absolute carb loading. So that's just, your body needs to do what it normally does the week before.
Yeah. Don't get stressed out. Don't change things up.
No, you've done everything you need to. So it's just a matter of relaxing for the last week.
Cool. Will CMAP have a stall with gear? They won't have a stall with gear, no. There may be some gear on display, but there won't be anything for purchase because they're 100% online. If anybody needs anything, I think over the previous years they actually hand brought things over like jackets or rain jackets or whatever. So I think there might be still time, but no, there will not be a stall. Let me see. Just asking for clarification. Read a crew stop in Temple No. Is it that you want crews to wait in the lower car parks and that they can then drive up to the graveyard car park once the competitor arrives, or do they have to leave the cars down there and walk up to the graveyard?
Yeah, they can drive up. Yeah, just to not clog the car park, and they'll know by the trackers how far away their runner is. So when their runner is 5 minutes away, then they can drive up with all the gear and then drive off. Don't wait. Once you're finished with your runner, drive off.
Cool.
Yeah, Peter will ask as they drive into the car park. It's Peter Eileen, isn't it? The guy who runs.
Yeah.
So as they approach the car park, Peter will ask them, "How far away is your runner?" And like generally, if it's within half an hour, 20 minutes, he'll say, "Stay there," depending on how many people are in the car park. But it's pretty organized. It's been always pretty good as long as people, listen to Peter.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And just on the other point there, you had said one of the first questions was about running out of Muckross, that they didn't see any signs for the Kerry Way. So it's important to know that on the way in, it's pretty easy because everyone will be following the actual Kerry Way route. But on the way out, it's generally, the rule is that you can come out of the Kerry Way or the Muckross Park anyway, which is the easiest way is, as you said, Eileen, that bottom of Torque waterfall, you run underneath the little stone arch, and that kind of guides you onto the tarmac road, which is the Navi. You'll see the horse and carts go along it too. So follow the horse shit. No, but it's basically pretty direct. Once you follow that kind of track, you'll have Muckross House on your right and you'll swing to the left. But there are no Kerry Way signs on that. In fact, every sign you see will say Killarney 5 kilometres and they all point in different directions. Yeah. But if you stay on that kind of road, as soon as you go under the arch, just follow that road the whole way out. It'll bring you back.
But I think
we are putting signs. There are a lot more signs than there used to be. There was always a problem with putting Kerry Way signs in Muckross because they had their own signs. But there's a sign just in front of Muckross House that's pointing you in towards town. The signs for the full ultra, which is where you have to use the Kerry Way on your way out at the start, there's new signs there. There's a new sign at the top of Torque, which was always a complicated sign. It's new. It's more straightforward. So the signs are there. Every year we get more and more signs. But in case it's just look for the signs. It's just don't just sort of blindly think that you're running towards lights, because there are other lights to say. It's just the signs are there.
Cool. Darren says, thanks Emil, sorry for all the questions first timer. Don't be sorry whatsoever. It's important that they are answered. Question from Elaine, is your WhatsApp group being set up for runners like last year? Yes, we have set that up before and we're setting it up. We'll drop that group in the Facebook group and on the page, and that is in case there is any issues, cancellations, any emergencies that we need to throw out there very quickly, and we need to ensure that people get the message within a few seconds. So yes, indeed. Other than that, I don't think we've any other questions. Keep the questions coming.
Can I just say, first of all, because I know I say it every year, but it's just the volunteers. John, Barry, Sarah, we'll get you as volunteers sometime soon. But for all the volunteers, it's just so heartening that people are giving their time. And I've noticed this year particularly, there's people who have run before, can't run this year, and have offered to crew for people who don't have crews, which is really, I mean, that's just amazing that is starting to happen. But I've spent mostly the last 4 or 5 days have been working on getting people to dot watch, to act as volunteers, to act as dropping bags and whatever. And it's just so heartening that people will do. I know I'm always begging for volunteers. This year has been a little bit easier in that people are volunteering to volunteer. So it's just it's great. It does make my life much easier, but it's always, we just have to say huge thank you to as in ye as well as everybody else.
Yeah, and I think people are understanding. Like we have John and Barry and everybody that has run. It's great to be at the other side too, and to push people on, because things can get hard, and we know what it's like when it's hard, when we want to throw in the towel, you know. And sometimes people need to kick up the ass, or just a soft few words to get them on their way and to finish it. So many great stories out there. I can remember Aoife Mundo, somebody wanted to pull the plug at Kinmare, and Aoife got them through and pushed them out, and they finished. And Aoife, a winner of the race, you know. That's what people need. So it's wonderful to have.
She ran to the shop to buy a bottle of Lucozade. The runner was packing it in, and she ran to the shop, got a bottle of Lucozade, ran back, gave it to the runner, gave her a hug, and pushed him up the road.
Yeah. Amazing. Do runners have to let you know that they have crew?
Yeah, please, if you could, because I need crew telephone numbers as well, in case we need to ring you, Norbert, and you're not answering, or you're out of coverage. Then we try and contact your crew. But also I need to know who has crew and who hasn't, because it will impact the black boxes for the drop bags. It just no point to me having 12 black boxes if I only need 6. So I do need to know if you have a crew. It's very important.
Great, cool. And obviously a shout out to our main sponsors, Port West, who have been with the race for many, many years from the start. We have CMAL coming from France. They're coming straight from UTMB, and they are so excited. I know we all like UTMB and the buzz and everything, but they are so much more excited to come to Kerry and to see Donal and Peggy, and see just the quirkiness and old school nature of this amazing race in the community. So they are very excited to come to us for, is it the 3rd year? I think the 3rd year running. They're actually personally here with a few surprises for the race. And obviously 6 West Aviation, Jason is running the night. We will have his documentary on the Saturday, and without those 2 partners or 3 partners, this race really wouldn't be taking place, I suppose.
Every year it gets more and more important to have the sponsorship of 6 West and CMAL, because costs are just really, really climbing up, and we're trying to keep it fairly affordable because it appeals to so many more people. But it's also the community centres, the tidy towns, the autism rooms in schools, all of these communities who get behind us. You all know how they get behind us. We give back to them, and this is where 6 West and CMAL are just a vital part of the Kerry Way. But then after those sort of gloomy, I have a new sponsor joining us for this year. We have Valencia Slate are coming on board, which it'll be a surprise. I won't tell you how they're coming on board, but it's great to be working with something that's, I think this is probably a first. We're working with something that's 355 million years old. I think not many other races can claim that sort of a connection. What do you think?
John must be getting close to that age, is he?
Don't be slating me now.
Boom, boom.
Very good. We have a message from Jared. Glen Bay was a very busy crew stop last year. So just be sure to tell your runner your position, because I know myself coming into some of those stops, if there's too many cars, too many people, and especially for, I suppose, the runners that are leaving at 10 a.m. that are racing fast, it's good to know where your crew is going to be parked, rather than spending a minute or 2 minutes or 3 minutes trying to find them.
I think on that, Jerry is my super crew for any long races I do. We always had a deal 2 kilometers out. I'd ring him regardless, because sometimes the trackers can have a slight delay, or as you guys probably obviously know, through parts of the course, it's a black spot. So the deal always was 2K out, shout out what I want, and then he'd just hang up with me, and I'd get there. I'd know where he was, he'd know what I want, and we'd go again.
Cool. Good one.
Yeah, with the trackers, I know that they're fairly on the ball, but there are places where they can be 5, 7, 8 minutes behind. So it's just handy if somebody is struggling, if they do think they're gone off the track and they're lost. The easiest thing is to stop. If you stop for 5 minutes, your dot will catch up with you, and then it's much easier from our point of view or from your crew's point of view to say, right, turn left, go 100 meters, and then you're back on track. But if they're keeping moving, the dot is not quite where you are, and you can end up going on in circles for ages. I've seen it happen so often. So it's just, if you are lost, stop, catch your breath for 7, 8 minutes, and then we'll get you sorted.
Cool. Good point. Right. I think that's it with regard to questions. Katrina, just for clarification again, when is the Temple No Road closed on Saturday morning?
The Temple No Road isn't closed. It's the road from Malls Gap. It's the road from Muckross up to Malls Gap and down into Kenmare. That's closed. So the access to Temple No for your crew, if it is at that hour of the morning, they'll need to go via Kilgarvan. If you check on Facebook, I put up the revised road closure there 2 nights ago, I think. Now that could change again. I think it's the third road closure sign that I've had. So we'll watch this space.
Cool. Right. So before we love you and leave you, John, your number one piece of advice to finish this race to, I suppose, newcomers that are coming?
Get a bit of sleep before Thursday night, because you probably won't get an awful lot on Thursday. The other thing is, like, expect a bit of hardship. It's okay. It'll definitely come, and you just believe you'll get through it, and it will get better, and it always does. You get what you think ultimately, and if you think hard enough of it and strong enough, you will get through it. No doubt whatsoever, no matter what gets thrown at you on the day. And there's lots of like-minded people to help you along the way. Join in conversations at times. It can actually take a few hours away much easier than you would if you were running on your own all of the time. And if you can, at all possible, try and join up with a few people on the night run element, because extra pairs of eyes as well is involved. But that doesn't mean everybody else switches off just because there's somebody out front doing the lead roll on. Everybody keeps an eye out for one another there. I think that's the one thing that'll get, that's probably the most testing time for a lot of people. So you get, make the help and get the help.
Some great points there. Especially you're signing up, guys. It's going to be hard. Okay. At a certain stage, you're going to be in the pain cave. You're going to maybe want to give up, whatever. But that's the point you're coming for. You're here to a certain extent, suffer. But it does get better. Like 5 or 10 minutes or 15 minutes, half an hour later, you could be on top of the world. You just have to manage that, get into liquids, eat, and then keep moving.
Answer phones. If we ring you, answer the phone. That's a priority.
Yes, answer phone. Keep your phone on. Very good. Great info. Yeah, Cameron is so excited, but is also crapping himself. So yeah, that's part and parcel of it. We all have been through that. Yeah, so other than that, I think we have everything. Everybody's excited. Owen Fenton, very exciting. Such an epic race for runner and crew. Yeah, it's going to be so much fun. So excited. Katrina says thanks. Other than that, Barry, your top piece of advice, I suppose John has stolen just about a piece of advice that we need to give, but I'm sure you have besides the spuds, obviously.
Yeah, pick up a few spuds and foil more. But no, the head torch is my thing, and I see it every year, where people are freaking out looking for batteries, and at least bring one torch with you that has batteries in it. And yeah, if you have, the torches are a lot better. And kind of like what John said, foil more, buddy up. That's a great point or place to kind of to buddy up where you're, especially if you're going into the night, and just watch out for the sign on the ridge. So when you're going to Foilmore, there is a very tricky stile, and as you go over the stile, on the stile there's a sign that says Waterville via the ridge, and it sends you to the right along the ridge. But as you climb over the stile, there's a sign that says Waterville via Cardaniel. So you haven't been to Cardaniel. It's Cardaniel's after Waterville. So that sign catches people out. I was out wrecking myself after doing the race 5 times, and I still caught the fucking
Same here.
out there doing the ultra twice. But it's a real tricky one. The sign is on the stile, so that's and it actually says 5 kilometers to Waterville, John. Is that right? But it's way more than 5 kilometers.
Yeah, it's quite easy to drop down there when you go on the side because you don't always typically look right. But it's extreme right on the ridge. That's every year people get called back, or and you can go down quite a distance down there before you realize, geez, I'm on the wrong way here, So it's
I'll be reminding people about that, and it's just because the sign when you go over the stile says Waterville via Caherdaniel, which is that right? Am I right in saying that?
Yeah, via Cardaniel is the one that drops down. Yeah.
So, but it's almost that straight route down, whereas you want to be kind of sticking.
Yeah, Waterville via the ridge.
Keep the coast, keep the sea as close to you as possible, because going down to Caherdaniel from Termon Ridge is the inland route. So I say, when you come to that style, if it's dark, you hopefully will see the lights of Waterville. So just to try and keep that in mind, that it's sea, that you need to keep the sea on your right all the time. The mountain most of the time on your left, and the sea to the water to the right all the time.
Very good, very good. Great advice. And Sarah, before we finish up, you did the 200 twice. The first time you didn't finish, and then you came back. So you obviously have advice that got you from year 1 to year 2 and finishing very, very well. So what would your advice be?
Well, for me, it's just the fueling. What happened on the first year I did it, I still hadn't figured out how to keep my stomach happy. And actually part of that, funnily enough, is the torch piece. Just for people who do get a bit of motion sickness, the point that Barry made about the batteries, I actually got advice from Simon Connaughton. That might have actually come from you, Barry, but the taping up the little batteries so you actually have them. Because I need mine on high beam just to kind of keep everything looking clear and straight. But for me, it was just the fueling, and same as the lads. The advice that I would have is, if you start out too fast, you're just burning too quickly. You've got to eat. You've got to be consistent, even when you don't feel you need to. And that's what, even though I still would at some point want to do the 200 again, because I didn't eat enough again in Temple No, but I obviously did earlier on in the race to get me to that point that I just had to suffer my way through the last 50k last year in that heat. But it just meant I didn't. And again, that comes down to the mind games. If you keep fueling, you've less pain caves to get yourself in and out of throughout the race, really.
Very good. Cool. Okay, so you have everything. You have all the advices to get you through to the finish line. So we expect we hopefully will see the vast majority of you at the finish line on Saturday. For the crack, for the film festival, for the music, for the pizza, for the fries, and for the beers. So we'll all be there for the party. Eileen, any closing words?
I'm looking forward to Monday.
Monday, right. Yeah, Monday. Okay, great. And you can get some quality sleep and after that. Right. Anyhow, thank you, Eileen, again for everything you're doing, because obviously without you, none of us would be here. And the work you're putting in is absolutely incredible. Incredible. So guys, take the time to jump over to Eileen, give her a big hug on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and say thank you before, during, or after, because without Eileen we wouldn't be here. So thank you, and we will see you all on Thursday evening for number pickup. Bye bye. Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
All the best.
Bye.